Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming MCS exams happening in August 2024. My name is Nick and I'm one of the tutors and evaluators for MCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. First things first, I will be taking you through examiners' comments so that you gain an in-depth understanding of what you are expected to achieve when preparing for your exam, and so that you understand what the examiner expects from you. And in the second part, I will be talking about what you need to do to develop a higher level of confidence in the upcoming 5 weeks. And on top of that, as part of the second part, I will also highlight what you need to do to manage exam stress. Because if you are clueless about how to manage exam stress, especially at your real exam, then you might lose out a lot of marks at your real examination. So all these things will be covered in today's session. So before we get into the technical nitty-gritties covered within today's webinar, let me quickly remind you about the upcoming workshops which we have scheduled for you. So after today's webinar is done, the webinar series comes to a conclusion. Then we are kickstarting our workshop series, where I will be taking you through exam standard and pre-seen specific questions pertaining to E2, F2, and P2 syllabi, so that you gain an understanding about how each syllabus area is tested and what type of answers you are expected to develop to gain the best amount of marks. And via these workshops, you have the chance of raising your questions and concerns, because by the time you are attending the first workshop, you should be, as per the study plan, you should be done with at least 2 mock exams. So definitely you will have questions, and I'm there to help you overcome these issues and address your concerns. So I will be conducting a Q&A within these workshops, and the final workshop happens 2 or 3 days before your exam. And in the final workshop, I will be sharing last minute tips with you, with the intention of ensuring that you walk into the exam with a positive mindset. Because as per the CIMA examiner, if you're positive and if you're confident about your skill set, chances of you passing the MCS exam will be extremely high. So you make use of these free resources which we offer at TCS. Get in touch with me on a weekly basis so that you can easily keep track of your performance each and every week. So having said that, let's look at what the examiner tells us by taking you through the relevant parts of the exam blueprint. So at the exam, you are expected to develop the best type of answers. So if you are to come up with good answers, you have to develop answers which are totally relevant to the requirement. So your answers should be totally aligned with the requirements. So with this in mind, I highlighted in the previous webinar answering technique that you are expected to reiterate each requirement in your own words, in a concise form. Why did I ask you to do it? Objective number one is to ensure that you really understand what's highlighted within each requirement. And on top of that, whilst developing the answer plan, halfway through, if you want to check whether you are headed in the correct direction, it makes your life easy to refer to a simplified requirement. So if you had started attempting mock exams, after teaching you answering and time management techniques last week, I expected you guys to go attempt the free mock exam via the exam platform. So when going through this mock exam, when you look at the requirements, there are short requirements as well as certain requirements which go on for 2 or 3 lines. So rather than, whilst developing the answer plan, rather than referring to an extremely long requirement, it makes your life easy to refer to a simplified requirement. It helps you better understand the requirement as well. You will never misunderstand the requirement. So with that in mind, as I mentioned earlier, as I mentioned in last week's webinar, you are expected to reiterate the requirement in your own words, in a concise form. If you are clueless about what I'm talking about, please watch the recorded version of last week's webinar, where I explained all these things in depth. I also took you through one of the mock exams, its question as well as the answer, thereby highlighting how we are supposed to do this. So watch the recorded version of the third webinar if you are clueless about how to reiterate the requirement in your own words in a concise form. And when developing your answers, the examiner expects you to show show to the examiner that you have an appropriate level of knowledge about theoretical concepts, and on top of that, you need to show to the examiner that you have the capabilities of applying this knowledge in a practical sense. So again, I covered these elements in last week's webinar. When I was taking you through one of the questions, if I'm not mistaken, I took you through two questions. One of them was supposed to was based on the P2 syllabus, risk management, risk identification and management, if I'm not mistaken. Then the second subtask was based on the F2 syllabus, thereby I took you through a question which tested your understanding about funding options. Yes. So these were the two elements which were covered in the previous session. So the first subtask which I took you through, which was about risk identification and management, it was a highly practical question, and you in such a question, your application skills are heavily tested. However, in the second subtask, which I took you through, which had everything to do with funding options, which was a question about debt and equity. That question, the second one, was a highly theoretical question, which tests your theoretical knowledge. So at your MCS exam, a similar amount of weightage is provided for theory-based questions as well as application-based questions. So with that in mind, it's of utmost importance that you learn your theory, because if you're not conversant about a certain theoretical concept, you cannot gain full marks at your MCS exam. And on top of that, if you do not have the capability of applying your knowledge, again, you would end up losing marks. Just because you are conversant with theory, if you're not too aware of how to utilize your theoretical knowledge when developing answers, considering the information presented in each scenario, you won't get a lot of marks. So there will be certain questions which tests your theoretical knowledge. When faced with these type of questions, you have to provide highly theoretical answers, and there will be another set of questions testing your application skills. When faced with these type of questions, you have to work on or show to the examiner that you are capable, or you have the capability of applying your knowledge considering the information presented in each scenario. So with the intention of ensuring that you understand or improve your technical knowledge or your theoretical knowledge, as well as you significantly improve your application skills, we have developed a set of master classes, and you'd understand what these master classes are and why we had developed them later on when I take you through the study resources which we offer at TCS. So if you watch these master classes, you are well poised to learn theory as well as application skills easily. And on top of that, we also provide a set of answer plans focused on all of our mock exams. So once you have access to these answer plans, it makes your life easy to understand how to provide answers focused on theoretical questions, as well as what you need to focus on when it comes to improving your application skills. So refer to our master classes and refer to the answer plans to significantly improve your technical knowledge as well as application skills. And most students who are coming through the exemption route and those who had failed the MCS exam previously lack an understanding about certain theoretical concepts. Most students struggle heavily with regards to application. So in order to improve these two elements, you need to get in touch with or you have to go through our master classes as well as refer to our answer plans. And once you have referred to these answer plans, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans on your own, then compare your fresh answer plans to our answer plans to further improve your skill set, further improve theoretical knowledge as well as application skills. And good answers are well structured. That's what the examiner is telling us. You are supposed to develop well structured answers. So that's exactly why you need to stick to the answering technique, because as I highlighted in last week's webinar, you need to spend some time to plan out your answer, or in other words, you need to develop something called an answer plan. So when you are developing the answer plan, you are trying to figure out how to structure your answer appropriately, what type of theoretical knowledge should be brought in, how to work on application, and as and when necessary, you need to bring in information, relevant information from the pre-scene. So you are trying to get all these things right when developing your answer plan. So if you practice your answer plans or answer planning across the 5 mock exams which we have developed for you, you will champion this technique. If so, you will develop well-structured, high-quality answers at your real exam. So just focusing on answer planning won't help. When finalizing your answer, you have to provide answers in paragraph form. So as I mentioned in last week's webinar, after developing the answer plan, let's assume for a certain subtask, you developed an answer plan, and within this answer plan there are 7 valid points, and for each valid point you need to develop a paragraph which consists of 2 to 4 line sentences. So if there were 7 valid points within a certain answer plan, then in your extended answer or in your final answer, you need to have 7 paragraphs as your final answer. So I again explained these things in depth in the previous webinar. So if you missed it, please go watch the recorded version. And whenever you are, recommending something, you have to back it up with appropriate justifications. If you are evaluating something or if you are arguing something, then you have to back each of your arguments with relevant justifications. Again, when it comes to justifying your arguments, or when it comes to providing justified recommendations, the examiner is testing whether you have learned something by going through the theoretical concepts, and at the same time the examiner is trying to figure out whether you are capable of applying your theoretical knowledge when developing your answers. So you need to get all these things right. In the previous webinar, third webinar, I highlighted how to get these things done in a successful manner. So if you missed out on it, please watch the recorded version. It's of utmost importance that you watch it before you start your preparations for your upcoming MCS exam. So in order to come up with answers which are totally aligned with the requirement, reiterate each requirement in your own words in a concise form before you develop your answer plan. And in order to show to the examiner that you possess an appropriate level of technical knowledge and you have the ability of applying this knowledge, considering the information presented in each scenario, you need to focus on your answering technique. And in order to overcome gaps in theory knowledge and application, you have to watch the master classes and refer to our answer plans and try to replicate our answer plans on your own when conducting your revision. And whenever you are bringing in some type of an argument, or whenever you are providing a recommendation, you have to back it up with appropriate justification, again showing to the examiner that you are aware of theoretical concepts as well as you are conversant with application. Okay, so now let's try to figure out what the examiner tells us to do when we are conducting preparation. So before the exam, you are expected to study all areas of the syllabus. So as you know, you just have 5 weeks at your disposal. So within these 5 weeks, if you try to go through the entire syllabus by referring to your study texts or your study notes and whatnot, you will waste a lot of time, because as I mentioned earlier, not just your theoretical knowledge is tested, your application skills are tested at the exam. So just because you go through your previous study notes or a study text, you can't make sure that you improve your application skills. So with the intention of learning the entire syllabus and improving application skills, with the intention of understanding how each syllabus area is tested at your exam, you have to attempt the mock exams which we have developed. And on top of that, if you watch the master classes within an extremely short period of time, you will learn theory covering the entire syllabus, as well as you will significantly improve your application skills. So looking at the syllabus, your MCS syllabus is quite vast, and this document indicates the syllabus areas which are covered within our mock exams. As you can see, there's a long list of areas covered under the P2 syllabus, which will be tested at your MCS exam. And on top of that, a majority of your IASs and IFRSs will definitely be tested at your F2 exam. So you have to be conversant with all these elements. And on top of that, if you consider the E2 syllabus, again, there's a long list which is focused on the 5 chapters you'd see within your E2 syllabus. So you need not worry about all these syllabus areas, because we have made sure to cover all these syllabus areas when developing our mock exams. So your job should be to attempt the mocks on a weekly basis, and after attempting each mock, when conducting your revision, you have to focus on redeveloping answer plans. So when you focus on redeveloping answer plans, you will significantly improve your theory knowledge, as well as you are working on your application skills. And once you're done with a certain mock, then move on to the next week and attempt the relevant mock within that week. And after attempting the mock, again focus on redeveloping answer plans, thereby working on your theory knowledge and trying to significantly improve your application skills. So you should not forget about certain syllabus areas, because I've dealt with students who'd leave out certain theoretical concepts just because they are uncomfortable with these theoretical elements. However, if the area which you left out is tested at your exam, you end up losing a lot of marks. So in order to avoid such a situation, you have to be conversant with the entire syllabus. So the best way to go through the entire syllabus and understand how each syllabus area is tested at your exam is to attempt the weekly mock under exam conditions. While after attempting it, watch the master classes, then you will easily learn theory and application skills. And after learning theory and application skills, put your knowledge into test by pre-developing answer plans. And after coming up with fresh answer plans, compare them to the answer plans provided by TCS to see where you stand, to further understand your shortcomings. And if you keep on redeveloping answer plans over and over again until you mirror the answer plans which are provided by TCS, then you will get good marks at your real exam. And whenever you are developing answers, your answers should be totally aligned with the information presented in each scenario. So the examiner tells you to practice your application skills. So I highlighted what type of questions are thrown at you, especially in the previous webinar. So you by now you should understand what I'm talking about. So you need to significantly work on your application skills when conducting your preparations. I'm not saying this, it's the CIMA examiner who's telling you to do this. And you are supposed to practice tasks. So when practicing tasks, you are supposed to type or write full answers. So what are full answers? At the exam, you are supposed to sit in one place 3 hours at a stretch and attempt 4 tasks, one after the other. So when practicing mock exams, that's exactly what you are supposed to do. I've encountered situations where students, when attempting mock exams, they will attempt task number 1 of a certain mock today, task 2 tomorrow, and task 3 day after tomorrow, and likewise. However, at the real exam, you have to sit in one place and keep moving forward task by task. You have to attempt all 4 tasks within 3 hours, which is not easy. So you have to, when attempting each mock exam, it's of utmost importance that you do it under exam conditions. If not, you will get stuck at your real exam. Because take it from me, it's not easy to sit in one place 3 hours at a stretch and do something which you do not enjoy, because nobody enjoys sitting in one place and attempting an exam. And across these 3 hours, you will be exposed to extreme levels of stress. So if you look at the human brain, you can concentrate for 45 minutes at a stretch, because our attention span, if you look at the human brain, the attention span is just there for 45 minutes. So you will be extremely comfortable with task number 1. However, from task number 2, you will experience some type of fatigue. And by the time you are in tasks 3 and 4, or towards the second half of the exam, towards the last 1.5 hours of your exam, you will be exposed to extreme levels of fatigue as well as extreme levels of stress. So it's best that you're exposed to this type of stress when conducting your preparations rather than experiencing it for the very first time at your real exam. So don't cheat. Don't try to simply go through the questions and the suggested answers and expect to pass the MCS exam. Instead, you have to put your knowledge into test. You need to, in order to get your bearings with your answering and time management techniques, in order to understand how in order to focus on your application skills and theory knowledge, you need to keep practicing answering and time management techniques over and over across the 5 mock exams. Because if you keep on repeating the answering and time management techniques each time you are attempting a mock exam under exam conditions, it's as if you are practicing um, answering and time management techniques 20 times over across the 5 mock exams. And across the 5 mock exams, you will be exposed to exam stress. And when you are exposed to exam stress, and when you know what to do to overcome exam stress, and when you have practiced your answering and time management techniques, your real exam is going to be a walk in the park. So it's of utmost importance that you attempt full mock exams rather than attempting it part by part. I'm not saying this. The CIMA examiner expects you to attempt or practice full mock exams, thereby attempting 4 tasks across 3 hours. And during the exam, what are you expected to do? You are supposed to plan your answers before you finalize your answers, because in a real life corporate setting, that's exactly what you do. Whenever you receive an email from your boss, you will take some time to structure your response appropriately by considering all the information presented in the email. So likewise, at this exam, since the examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment, you are expected to take some time to plan out your answers. So that's exactly what I highlighted in the third webinar, the previous webinar, which happened last week, where I said that you need to allocate something like 20 minutes to develop something called an answer plan. And once you have a plan at your disposal, when it comes to typing out your fully fledged answer or expanding your answer plan, your life becomes easy, because you need not spend some time to think. You have already spent time to plan out your answer. Once you have a plan at your disposal, you are simply supposed to focus on expanding your answer plan. So that's exactly what the examiner is telling you to do as well. And with regards to mark allocation, the examiner is saying that the marker is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merit. So I've heard some tutors out there saying that there's a certain word count which you need to achieve when developing answers, which makes absolutely no sense, because the examiner is telling us that your answers are marked based on merit. So the examiner is looking at the quality of your answer rather than at the length or the quantity of your answer. So in order to get your quality right, focus on the answering technique. If you structure your answers appropriately, if you are capable of managing your time appropriately, chances of you passing the MCS exam will be extremely high. All right, so let's try to gain a better understanding about the marking criteria. As I mentioned in the third webinar, each subtask carries a weightage, which gives us an indication about mark allocations. And as I said last week, before you develop the answer plan for each and every subtask, you need to understand how much marks are allocated. So for instance, if for a certain subtask 15 marks are allocated, since each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks, in order to score 15 marks, you need to have 5 to 7 main points within your answer. And if for a certain subtask 25 marks are allocated, since each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks, in order to gain 25 marks, you need to have 8 to 12 main points within your answer plan. So likewise, when you are before you develop your answer plan, when you are thinking about the mark allocations, and when you are trying to develop an answer plan which is totally aligned with the mark allocations, you will gain the best amount of marks. Your answers will not be too short or too long. Instead, it will be totally aligned with mark allocations for each and every subtask. So in order to understand how to get this right, or do this in a successful manner, if you missed out on last week's webinar, please watch the recorded version, which can be accessed via our student dashboard as well as our YouTube channel. And as I mentioned earlier, marks are allocated based on merit. Hence, the examiner is picking quality over quantity. So that's exactly what we're trying to achieve by structuring your answers, which are totally aligned with mark allocations of each and every subtask. So that's the marking criteria. And having said that, before I tell you what you need to do to build a higher level of confidence, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the MCS page, and if you are yet to check the free content, click on this button, and again then you'd have the ability of creating your own free account, free user account. And once you have access to the free user account, uh, this button will read as access dashboard. Click on it and click on my courses, and in front of MCS free, there's a button which goes as access content. Click on it, and via this, you'd gain access to the recorded versions of the webinars and workshops which we conduct on a weekly basis via the videos tab. And you'd gain access to study material, the free study material. Under this, you will gain access to the answer plan of the free mock exam. Then you'd also gain access to the free mock exam, its question, as well as the suggested answers. And under the exams tab, if you click on MCS free mock, you have the ability of attempting the free mock exam under exam conditions, which gives you the opportunity to practice answering and time management techniques. And at the same time, you will be exposed to exam stress. You have to gain an understanding about exam stress. If not, if you are exposed to exam stress for the first time at your exam, you will panic. Panic leads to brain freeze, and if that is the case, you won't pass your MCS exam. Okay, so I will talk about how to overcome these type of stressful situations in a little while. And before I take you to these elements, let me quickly tell you what we offer. So click on this button and check out the free content. Then click on this button to check the sample material if you are interested in investing on our paid content to gain an understanding about the type of services we offer at TCS. And click on this button to join the MCS WhatsApp group if you are yet to join it. Via this group, you can engage in group learning, and at the same time, we are sharing additional free content via this MCS group. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can raise them, and I'm always there to, myself and Jared are always there to help you guys out. And talking about what we offer two main packages, the value pack and the premium pack. The value pack is designed for students who are coming through the general route. So if you're coming through the general route, you would have completed your OTQs. So because of that, you already have learned theory. So you need not do anything to learn theory. Instead, you simply need to focus on improving your application skills. So if you're coming through the general route, don't go for the premium package, simply purchase the value pack. So the value pack comes with the recordings of all webinars and workshops. And in addition to the free mock exam, you will also gain access to 5 mock exams with suggested answers. And when developing these mock exams, we have made sure to cover the entire syllabus. And you saw all the syllabus areas which are tested via our mock exams. And the value pack comes with 3 pre-scene analysis videos, because your pre-scene document is divided into 3 main elements and focused on each area. We have developed 3 pre-scene analysis videos, and once you go through these 3 videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding about what your company is and what type of an industry in which it operates, and what appears within its financial statements, as well as what appears within the financial statements of your closest competitor. And you'd also gain access to the annotated pre-scene, the industry analysis and financial analysis slides. Let me quickly show you what these documents are. So as you can see, we have come up with tutor annotations, thereby developing something called the annotated pre-scene. And via these annotations, we have highlighted the probable areas which can be tested at the exam. We have provided tutor evaluations, and on top of that, we have also highlighted probable syllabus areas which can be tested at your real exam. So by gaining access to this annotated pre-scene, it makes your life easy to understand which of the information which are highlighted within the pre-scene is relevant, as well as what type of information you can consider to be irrelevant, because the pre-scene document consists of or carries relevant as well as irrelevant information. So you won't have the capability of understanding which of the information is relevant. Simply refer to the annotated pre-scene, then it will make your life easy when it comes to preparing for your MCS exam. And you'd also gain access to the industry analysis slides. You need not conduct your own industry analysis. We have done it for you. So our industry analysis slides are divided into 4 main elements. You would have seen the content if you attended the second webinar where I conducted a pre-scene analysis, thereby taking you through the industry dynamics as well as the internal dynamics of Flatthall. So in the first part, we have defined the industry, and we have also highlighted the industry trends and industry challenges. It's important that you understand the trends and challenges, because based on this information, scenarios can be thrown at you at your real exam. So you need not conduct your own industry research. We have done it for you. And looking at the financial analysis slides, I said, as I mentioned, at the very end of your pre-scene document, you'd see the financial statements of your company and its closest competitor. And we have evaluated each financial statement, and we have come up with annotations, and we have made sure to keep these annotations simple so that you can easily understand what's highlighted within each financial statement. And at the very end, we have conducted a ratio analysis considering your chosen company and its closest competitor. Again, we have kept our evaluations simple so that you can understand what happens within your company and its closest competitor in a financial sense. So these are the type of resources you'd gain access to under the value pack. Additionally, you'd gain access to a set of slides which highlight the top 10 likely issues, which highlights the most probable scenarios which can be tested at your real exam. And you'd also gain access to the case study familiarization kit. By going through this kit within 10 minutes, you are in a position to gain an in-depth understanding about the technicalities behind your MCS exam. And you'd also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So as I mentioned earlier, the value pack is designed for students who had already learned theory, who had already passed their OTQ exams. So after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you cannot remember a certain theoretical element, simply refer to our revision cards so that you can, within a short period of time, brush up your knowledge concerning a certain syllabus area or theoretical element. So the value pack is priced at £199. And talking about the premium package, this is designed for students who are coming through the exemption routes as well as those who had failed the MCS exam previously. So both these sets of students have the same shortcoming. They have to learn theory because there are knowledge gaps, especially pertaining to P2 and F2 syllabi. And on top of that, both these sets of students need to really work on their application skills. So with that in mind, we have developed additional resources on top of the resources which are provided under the value pack. So you'd gain access to the online mock exam platform where you can attempt all mock exams under exam conditions, which gives you the opportunity to practice answering and time management techniques. And at the same time, when you are attempting each mock exam under exam conditions, just like what your CIMA examiner is asking you to do, you will be exposed to exam stress. And it's best that you encounter exam stress right now so that you know what to do to overcome exam stress at your real exam. And you will also receive one-on-one tutor feedback on mocks 3, 4, and 5. Let me quickly show you the type of feedback which we provide at TCS. So as you can see, each and every paragraph has been evaluated And if there are major shortcomings, we have highlighted what you need to do to overcome these shortcomings. That's exactly what you can see throughout this answer script. Each and every paragraph had been evaluated in depth. And at the very end, we have provided mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis. We have also indicated a success rate, which will help you understand the subtasks in which your performance is substandard. So if you look at this student's performance, this individual has gained 99 marks out of 150, and only one subtask is substandard. So after receiving tutor feedback, I said that, or after attempting each mock exam, I said that the best type of revision you should focus on is with regards to redeveloping answer plans. So rather than attempting the entire mock exam, allocating 3 hours of your time, you simply need to work on your answer plans. Because if you get your answer plans right, if you structure your answers appropriately, since the examiner is looking at the quality of your answer, you are well poised to gain extremely good marks at your MCS exam. So after receiving tutor feedback, focus on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow and redevelop answer plans on your own. That's the best type of revision you can be involved with, which is totally focused on understanding your shortcomings and overcoming them. So if you failed your MCS exam previously, or if you're coming through an exemption route, it's of utmost importance that you understand your shortcomings, because without understanding your shortcomings, if you try to just attempt mock exams and pass the MCS exam, you'd keep repeating the MCS exam, especially given the fact that you'd keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again. So go for tutor feedback if you failed previously, or if you're coming through the exemption route, so that you stand a chance to really understand your shortcomings and work towards overcoming these shortcomings before you attempt your real examination. So that's the type of feedback which we provide at TCS under the premium package. And you'd also gain access to the answer plans of all mock exams, including the free mock exam. So you would have seen what an answer plan looks like, because I took you through the answer plan for the free mock in the previous session when teaching you answering and time management techniques. So as you can see, rather than having access to pages and pages of suggested answers, and rather than you trying to decrypt the logic behind each answer, we have done it for you. So this makes your life easy when it comes to understanding answering technique. You can easily understand how theoretical elements had been brought in when developing the answer. You can easily improve your application skills, and on top of that, you can easily spot when pre-seen information had been brought in to further improve the arguments or justifications. And after attempting each mock exam, I said you need to focus on redeveloping answer plans. And once you had redeveloped your answer plan, or once you have come up with a fresh answer plan, compare your answer plan to our answer plans and see what your shortcomings are, and try to keep redeveloping answer plans over and over until you mirror the quality of the answer plans, which you would see if you refer to our answer plans. So rather than asking you to focus on the suggested answers and decrypt the logic, we have done it for you. Okay, so that's what's covered under the premium pack. And you'd also gain access to 20 masterclasses in our mock exams. Just like in your real exam, each mock exam carries 4 tasks. So 4 tasks into 5 mocks come up to 20 tasks in total. So in each masterclass, we have explained the logic behind each task, and at the same time, we have taught you theory and taught you application. So I conducted the answering and time management technique webinar last time. When conducting it, when explaining the answer, I adhered to the same methodology, just like how we conduct a masterclass I conducted last week's webinar. So this is the best way to learn theory and improve application skills focused on each and every mock exam. And once you have access to all this content, we can guarantee your pass. That's exactly why we are providing a pass guarantee under the MCS premium package. So if you invest on the premium package and end up failing, you will gain access to the premium package in your subsequent sitting free of charge. However, in order to claim the pass guarantee, you have to complete these 3 requirements. You have to complete all mock exams. If not, you won't be eligible for the pass guarantee, especially given the fact that without attempting all 5 mock exams, you do not stand a chance to cover the entire syllabus. You do not stand a chance to understand how each syllabus area is tested at your exam. And when attempting each mock exam, I do not want you guys to refer to the answer plans, the suggested answers, or the master classes. Instead, attempt each mock exam on your own. Then you are well poised to understand your shortcomings. Because as I mentioned earlier, without understanding your shortcomings, there's absolutely no point of preparing for MCS exam. The best thing to do is to understand your shortcomings. And if you understand shortcomings, you can work towards overcoming each of your shortcomings, thereby being successful at your real exam. And you have to meet the performance criteria of 40% or higher for mocks 3, 4, and 5, especially given the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback. We have come up with this criteria to make sure that you are doing a serious job when attempting the last 3 mock exams, because by the time you are at mock number 3, you'd have a good understanding about answering and time management techniques. You will be in a position to successfully develop answer plans taking 20 minutes of your time. So from mock 3 onwards, since you have mastered answering and time management techniques, you are in a position to gain 40% or higher if you are being serious when attempting each of the last 3 mock exams. So once you have completed all these three requirements, there's absolutely no way you'd fail the MCS exam. That's why we provide the pass guarantee. So the price of the premium package is £749, which can be paid in 2 installments of £374 each across 2 months, or you can benefit from £100 discount if you pay in full. If so, the price of the package is just £649. And before we move on to the last part of tonight's webinar, let me quickly take you through the MCS study plan. Click on this button and you can access the study plan on the website itself. So according to the study plan, we are in week number 4. And within this week, you are expected to attempt mock number 2. After attempting mock number 2, in order to understand the logic behind each answer and in order to learn theory and improve application skills, watch the 4 master classes. So after you have learned theory and application, then redevelop answer plans, thereby putting your knowledge into test. After redeveloping the answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to the answer plans which we have provided to further understand what your shortcomings are. So when attempting the mock exam, you'd be clueless about the type of answers you are supposed to develop. You are trying to give your best shot, which will make sure that you understand your shortcomings. And after watching the master classes, you will learn theory. You will understand the type of answers you should have developed. And after learning theory and application, put your knowledge into practice by redeveloping answer plans on your own. After doing it, compare your fresh answer plans to our own answer plans. That's the best type of revision you have to be involved with to ensure that you gain a sure pass at your upcoming MCS exam. So out of all the students, only one single student is sticking to our study plan. Only one single student had attempted the first mock exam. So if you are still contemplating about starting your preparations, it's high time you do so, because as per our study plan, you are expected to allocate 7 hours of study time per week, thereby attempting a mock exam per week. As I mentioned right now, you are supposed to conduct your revision based on the weekly mock exam. And if you wait until the last 2 or 3 weeks to start your preparations, you will have enough time to attempt all mock exams. However, you won't have time to conduct your revision. You won't have time to focus on redeveloping your answer plans. So in order to avoid all these inefficiencies closer to the exam, start your preparations now itself. If so, you will have enough and more time to work on your answering technique. If you work on your answering technique, since you are getting marks based on the quality of your answers, you will gain extremely good marks at your real exam. So stick to the study plan. And if you need any help, get in touch with me or Jared. We are always there to help you guys out. Okay, so that's what we offer. And having said that, let's try to figure out what you need to do to develop a high level of confidence when preparing for an exam. So before the exam, in order to be confident, you have to build your skill set. So to build your skill set, stick to the study plan. If you do not know what the study plan is all about, we covered this, or I explained the entire study plan in the first webinar. So go watch the recorded version, then you'd understand what you are expected to do on a weekly basis, and how you are supposed to utilize your 7 hours of study time, which you need to allocate on a weekly basis. And you can refer to the study plan via the website, just like what I showed you right now. And it's best that you stick to a routine in the upcoming 5 weeks, at least in the upcoming 5 weeks, stick to a routine. It's best to wake up and sleep at a predetermined time. If you are finding it hard to do so, focus on your meal intake. Have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at predetermined times. If so, you will fall asleep at a designated time and you will wake up at a designated time, because as I mentioned earlier, you are supposed to allocate 7 hours of study time per week. So let's assume you attempt the mock exam on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, watch the master classes to learn theory and improve application skills. By Thursday, you will receive tutor feedback. And after receiving tutor feedback, you'd understand the subtasks in which your performance was substandard, and focused on these subtasks, redevelop answer plans on Thursday itself. So if you stick to our study plan, it's just a matter of working across 3 days per week. So your real responsibility, if you go for the premium package, since you have access to the master classes and the answer plans, your life becomes easy when it comes to learning theory and improving application skills. So what your real responsibility is to attempt a mock per week, thereby finding 3 hours of your time. The remaining 4 hours on a weekly basis should be allocated towards watching the master classes, then redeveloping answer plans. So if you stick to this type of a routine in the upcoming 5 weeks, you can pass the MCS exam for sure. And when practicing your mock exams, you need to work on your skill set. As the CIMA examiner has mentioned, you need to, your marks are allocated based on the quality of your answers. So because of that, you need to work on your answering and time management technique. So in order to get accustomed with these techniques, it's important that you practice each mock exam under simulated exam conditions. So in order to ensure that you have the capability or the opportunity to attempt each mock exam under exam conditions, we have developed a mock exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system which you'd use at your real exam. So make use of these resources which we have provided, and when attempting each mock exam, attempt it in isolation, just like in your real exam, devoid of any disturbances. And when attempting each mock exam, stick to the exam technique routine. So on a task by task basis, you have to allocate 5 minutes to read through the entire scenario, 20 minutes to develop the answer plan focused on all subtasks, and the remaining 20 minutes of your time should be allocated towards expanding your answer plan in paragraph form. So keep practicing it. I said that we have given you the opportunity to attempt the free mock exam under exam conditions via our exam platform. So if you had already attempted this free mock exam, you would have found out by now that you are not in a position to develop answer plans within 20 minutes. Instead, you would have taken 30 or 40 minutes just to develop the answer plan. So this indicates that you need some practice to get this answering technique right. In order to develop the answer plan within 20 minutes, you need to keep on practicing these techniques over and over again when attempting each mock exam. Because just because you implemented these techniques once, you won't get it right at your real exam. So you need to, in order to build your confidence, you need to focus on improving your skill set. So practice mock exams under exam conditions whilst repeating answering and time management techniques over and over. And you need to have the capability of managing exam stress as well. So the best way to manage the exam stress is to stick to the answering technique. So as I mentioned earlier, 25 minutes should be allocated towards reading and answer planning, and 20 minutes should be allocated towards typing answers. And on top of that, always think that you are the finance manager at Flatthall, then you will significantly improve your application skills. Because I said, when it comes to application, it's all about considering the information presented in each scenario and developing your answers which are totally aligned with the information presented. So just like in a real life corporate setting, it's as if you are receiving an email from your superior, and when responding to it, you'd try to cover all the information presented in each scenario. So if you think that when attempting each mock exam, if you think that you are playing the role of a finance manager, you will significantly improve your application skills. So this will help you improve your skill set. And when you know that there's an improvement, when you see for yourself that there's an improvement in your skill set, your confidence levels will keep on building. And at the exam, it's quite normal for any student to encounter stress, especially given the fact that the examiner purposely includes a certain subtask or 2 or 3 subtasks within your exam paper with the intention of throwing you off your exam strategy. So when you are encountering a certain subtask which is hard, which carries a lot of complexities, or when you are exposed to a situation where the requirement is vague, then you will be exposed to exam stress. So as I mentioned earlier, the examiner is not just testing your theory knowledge and application skills. The examiner is trying to see whether you are fit to play the role of finance manager. If you are a successful manager, you have to have the capability of managing stress at any given moment. So the examiner is trying to understand whether you have the capability of managing exam stress by coming up with 1 or 2 vague questions or complex information. So whenever you are exposed to this type of stress, you have to take action to switch off your amygdala. So what is the amygdala? This is a certain part of our brain which is indicated in blue. This is a quite small part of our brain. Whenever you are developing answers, or whenever you are trying to come up with the best type of recommendations, or trying to provide the best type of evaluations, you are expected to utilize your prefrontal cortex, or the front part of your brain. So whenever a human being is involved with rational decision making, then the prefrontal cortex should be working properly. However, whenever we are exposed to extreme levels of stress, the prefrontal cortex will cease functioning and functions will shift to the amygdala. So what does the amygdala do to us? It gives us the flight or fight response. So the human brain is telling us, whenever we are exposed to stress, the brain is telling us to avoid a stressful situation. So at the exam, when you are exposed to a vague task, or whenever there's complex information provided to you, your brain is telling you to come up, finish the exam as fast as possible. So you will try to come up with rushed answers. You will forget about the answering technique. You will forget about time management. Instead, you'd try to come up with rushed answers. Why? It's not your fault. It's actually your brain's fault. Okay, we are wired to be like that. And on top of that, as I told you earlier, our attention span is just for 45 minutes at a stretch. So after the first task, in tasks 2, 3 and 4, you'd definitely be exposed to exam stress, because your brain will keep reminding you that you are exposed to a stressful situation. You are trying to focus for more than 45 minutes at a stretch. So because of that, you might forget answering technique, or you might give up on your answering technique. Instead, you try to come up with rushed answers. So when you are exposed to extreme levels of stress, the amygdala kicks in. This results in a sudden adrenaline rush, and this adrenaline rush leads to panic. Panic leads to brain freeze. Brain freeze is a situation where you are trying to read through the scenario, but nothing goes into your head. You are trying to develop the answer, but you cannot think what to include within your answer. So it's best that you are exposed to these elements when conducting your preparations. rather than being exposed to these elements for the first time at your real exam. Because when you are exposed to these elements when attempting each mock exam, by sticking to the practices which I'm going to teach you right now, you will be in a position to switch off your amygdala. And once the amygdala is switched off, brain functions will return to the prefrontal cortex. If you're thinking, utilizing your prefrontal cortex, you would come up with the best decisions. You would conduct your evaluations in the most appropriate manner. You will come up with well justified recommendations. So in order to switch off the amygdala, there's nothing else to do. You have to focus on your breathing. So you have to close your eyes at least for 2 minutes and focus on your breathing. And when focusing on your breathing, you have to inhale from your nose and exhale from your mouth. And when inhaling, you have to focus on your entry point, which is the tip of your nose. And you have to focus on the exit point of your breath, which is the tip of your lips. So when you are focusing on the tip of your nose when inhaling, and when exhaling, when you are focusing on the tip of your lips, you are deviating brain functions from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex. So the only way to switch off the amygdala is to focus on your breathing. So you won't be able to manage stress just because you know these things, and when you try to implement them for the first time, you won't get it right. Just like answering technique, I said that you are expected to develop answer plans taking 20 minutes of your time focused on the entire task. But when you are doing it for the first time, you would have taken 30 to 40 minutes just to develop the answer plan. So likewise, whenever you are exposed to exam stress, when you are trying to focus on your breathing for the first time, you won't get it right. But across the mock exams, if you stick to this routine, you will champion stress management. And if you are in a position to manage your stress appropriately, you will be extremely successful at your real exam. And it's best that you take do this refresh your brain before attempting each task. So for instance, after the first 45 minutes, or after the first task is done, before starting with task number 2, close your eyes and focus on your breathing. It's as if you are refreshing your brain. You are changing brain functions from the amygdala to your prefrontal cortex, and then start working on task number 2. After task 2 is done, again take a break for 2 minutes, refresh your brain, and start with task number 3. And most successful students, when they are attempting mock exams, they do this. And when you keep practicing this technique over and over across the 5 mock exams, you will be taking a break and focusing on your breathing on tasks 2, 3, and 4. And by the time you are done with the 5 mock exams, it's as if you have practiced this technique 15 times over. And if so, you will know what to do at your exam whenever you are exposed to exam stress. So as I mentioned earlier, if you are capable, the examiner is trying to figure out whether you possess the capabilities of managing exam stress. So if you practice this, you will successfully manage exam stress. And if you are successful in managing stress, then you will come up with the best type of answers. And it's best to drink some water to calm your nerves as well. However, if you are attempting the exam at home, you are not allowed to have a water bottle. And on top of that, in certain examination centers, you are not allowed to take a water bottle. If that is the case, you have nothing else but to focus on your breathing. Whenever you are exposed to a stressful situation, you can actually implement it in your real lives as well, at office or at home. Whenever you are exposed to a stressful situation, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, then you will think straight rather than coming up with rushed answers, because as you know, rushed answers are not always the best solutions out there. So when attempting mocks, please keep practicing these things in addition to the answering and time management techniques which we discussed in the previous webinar. Okay, and when conducting your preparations in the upcoming 5 weeks, you have to avoid these deflections as well. Over-reliance on predictions is a killer. There's absolutely no point of trying to predict what will be tested at your exam. As I mentioned in the first webinar, the pre-seen document gives you an indication about what has happened within your company and its industry in the past. However, at your real exam, some type of an opportunity the company is trying to exploit, or some type of an issue experienced by the company will be highlighted in each and every scenario, just like in a real life corporate environment. So you might be working in a certain company, or you might be running your own business. Until tomorrow, you cannot know the type of issues your company is going to face, or the type of opportunities the decision makers are going to exploit. So when you walk into office, you have to open up your laptop or your computer, and once you receive your emails, considering the information highlighted within each email, you have to conduct your evaluations, or you have to provide your recommendations. So you cannot predict what your company is going to face in the future. So don't try to predict the type of questions which are thrown at you at your real exam. I've heard from a multitude of students who are trying to gain an understanding about the variants which were tested last time, and this makes absolutely no sense, because in a real life corporate environment you can't avoid anything. You have to develop answers or solutions considering the information presented to you. And excessive industry analysis is a killer. There's absolutely no point of wasting your time in this area. Instead, you have to really focus on attempting mocks and redeveloping answer plans, or working on your answering technique. So we have developed a set of industry analysis slides, and we have conducted an industry analysis as part of our pre-scene analysis videos. So watch these set of videos and go through the industry analysis slide. That's the only type of focus you should give towards the industry analysis. Don't try to analyze the industry on your own, because your company is a fictitious company which is based in a fictitious industry. And misguided use of past papers is a problem as well, especially given the fact that past exam variants or past papers are based on previous pre-scene documents, and the information presented in previous pre-scenes are totally different to the internal and external dynamics of your chosen company. So if you try to conduct your preparations based on past exam variants, then you are mistaken. You will be exposed to stressful situations at your real exam. So you have to avoid it. And information overload is a killer as well. I've dealt with students when we are asking you to attempt the weekly mock and conduct your revision based on the mock exam. Students try to refer to study texts, study notes, and do everything under the sun, which makes absolutely no sense, because information overload leads to stressful situations, especially closer to the exam. So simply stick to our study plan, because it's a proven methodology. By sticking to the study plan, hordes and hordes of students had passed, and when your pass mark is just 80, most of our students who stick to the study plan get more than 100 marks. So it's a tried and tested method. So stick to this method, attempt a mock per week, and redevelop answer plans focused on the weekly mock exam, and keep moving forward in the upcoming 5 weeks, rather than focusing your attention towards unnecessary things. And overemphasis on the exam blueprint carries no sense as well. We have covered all the necessary elements which are covered within the exam blueprint across the 4 webinars which we have conducted. So simply, if you missed out on any of the previous webinars, simply watch the recorded versions. Then you'd gain an in-depth understanding about your MCS exam, how your knowledge is tested, and what you need to do when it comes to preparations. And you might be attempting the exam at home. If that is the case, it's best that you go to this link and get your bearings with the Pearson VUE system. And I will share this link via the WhatsApp group for your benefit. So we achieved a 94% pass rate in our previous sitting, and we are proud to say that the student who gained the highest amount of marks ended up achieving 108 marks, simply by sticking to our study plan and attempting a mock exam per week. And on top of that, you have the chance of getting in touch with me or Jared on a weekly basis. No other service provider is giving you this opportunity. So on a weekly basis, you can get in touch with us and keep track of your performance. If you have any issues or concerns, you can raise them. And on top of that, via WhatsApp, on a weekly basis from the upcoming week, I will be getting in touch with you on a Tuesday or a Wednesday to make sure that you are adhering to the study plan. So make use of these resources. We are there to always help you guys out. If you are disciplined enough to stick to the study plan and attempt a mock per week and conduct your revision based on the weekly mock exam, you can easily pass this MCS exam. You can easily learn theory and improve application skills. That's exactly what our students achieved in the previous sitting. Okay, so I'm opening up the session for a Q&A. If you have any questions, you can raise them now. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks, thank you very much for raising these questions. I hope I addressed everything and you gained an understanding about what you need to do in the upcoming 5 weeks with the intention of increasing your chances, significantly increasing your chances of passing this exam. So if you had failed the exam previously, and especially if you are coming through the exemption route, it's of utmost importance that you overcome your knowledge gaps as well as issues with application. With that in mind, attempt the weekly mock exam, watch the master classes, then redevelop answer plans. And when redeveloping answer plans, try to mirror our answer plans, conduct your revision solely based on the answer plans. That's the best way to overcome your knowledge gaps as well as improve your application skills. At the same time, significantly improve your answering technique. Okay, so if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. So visit our website and click on the contact button, and you'd be directed to the get in touch area. Drop your message so that our admin staff will get in touch with you via email. And you can email us at info@study@tcs.com and WhatsApp us on this number. You can reach me via the WhatsApp group as well, or if you have something personal, then you can direct message me as well. And I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of these webinars and workshops are uploaded onto our YouTube handle. And on top of that, via TikTok, you will gain access to a mind map, which covers the entire pre-seen document. So you need not do anything to memorize what appears within the pre-seen document. We have done it for you. So watch these 3 TikToks. All 3 videos will just take up 7 to 9 minutes of your time. So on a daily basis, if you keep watching these 3 TikToks until your examination, which happens in another 5 weeks time, you will remember all the important information which appears within your pre-seen document. So make use of these free resources which we offer for your benefit. So having said that, it brings us to the end of today's webinar. I hope you guys gained an understanding about what the examiner is expecting from you and what you need to do to build your skill set as well as manage exam stress. Because if you build your skill set and manage exam stress, you are on the correct path towards improving your confidence. And if you're confident, you will easily pass your MCS exam, because you stand a chance to come up with the best type of answers, simply given the fact that you believe in your skill set. So having said that, I hope you will attend the weekly workshops which we have scheduled for you, which starts from next week. And in each of these workshops, I will be addressing your myself or Jared will be addressing your questions, as well as please guys, someone's mic is on. I will myself or Jared will be addressing your questions and concerns, and at the same time, we will be explaining answers based on each syllabus area. So thank you very much. Take care and catch you next week.